this project, Elan Cattle, was about getting more cattle grazing in the Elan Valley because cattle graze very differently from sheep, and the sort of terrain that needed more attention, more habitat restoration, needed bigger animals to have a bigger impact. So a lot of the farms had stopped having cattle, a number of reasons. So TB being a big one, but also cattle are harder to rear and it's expensive and the economic gains aren't so good. So we subsidised about 10 farms to either increase their herd numbers or to introduce cattle to the farm. And this has been one of the best projects. So it's gone really, really well. We've had the biggest uptake. It's been highly popular. And to say a little bit about what cattle do, cattle graze very differently from sheep. They're heavy animals. They break up big tufts of grass. They break up the bracken, which is a scourge throughout the hills of the Elan Valley. And they don't eat every flower in sight. So sheep, good grazers for the right sort of habitat, but they will tend to just pick out every single flower, every piece of heather. And so you end up with a landscape that's mostly Molinia, this purple moorgrass, this blonde grass that covers the hills. Cattle, they amble along, they'll eat a bit here, a bit there, they'll pull a tuft in one place and then ignore the next one. So they will leave areas of habitat rather than eating the whole thing.
I heard of these collars from one of the trustees, and they thought that it'd be a good idea to try a few. And I know that my neighbour over here, Mark Jones, and he uses quite a lot of them on his hills, and they seem to be brilliant working with him. And so anyway, one of the trustees said, why don't we try a few? So we just started off with a few to start, and well, they seem brilliant. Like you've got to get the cows in the crush, and then there's a little put this battery in a collar and get them in the crush, and put a chain around them then, and just make sure they've just got enough of a gap so it just dangles down a bit. And yeah, anyway, and then you loose them out then and put them to your pasture. And then I got an app then on my phone where I can set like a boundary so I could put them wherever I want really. So anyway, I set this boundary then, and yeah, well, I can just move them from place to place. And anyway, this boundary, as they get closer to the boundary that's in the sky, and it just plays a bit of a tune to them to start, like a bit of a warn, a bit of a tune it is, and they get closer and closer, and this noise gets louder and louder all the time. And then if they go too far, they will have a little buzz, like it's a bit of a zap, like, and then, well, it's not very often that they have one of them, but they'll return back then, and once they've learnt, it's brilliant. They just, as soon as they hear that tune, they just go back the other way then.